Hello, everyone. A question came in, so I will answer it today. And the question is this. I've been suffering from chronic fatigue for many years, and I wish I could return to my normal energetic self I once had. Can this happen for me? Well, thank you for writing in, and I will see what comes through. But first, I just want to let you know that I'm not a medical doctor. And if you have anything happening like that, you should go and get your blood work done and a whole checkup. And in India, we have Ayurvedic doctors that we use as well as Western medicine. And they take your pulse and they're able to tell what's going on. Some of these Vaidya's are really talented with that. If you don't have access to Vaidya's, then you can use whatever medical system you have in your country, and that's really important to know whether there is something going on. Maybe there's something nutritionally that is lacking. Drinking enough water is something very basic to check that you're doing. Am I getting enough fluids? Am I fully nourished? Is my diet working for me? Am I eating enough? Am I on a weird diet? There's lots of questions that you can go through, and then we can get into other realms, but just common sense when it comes to these things. We don't want to spiritually bypass very basic, fundamental things that we need to take care of. And for me, I make sure that I do get my blood work done, and I go to Panchakarma. That's also something that India is very talented at. It cleanses the body. It's really, really wonderful. The change of each season, you go and you have a cleanse, and then you reintroduce certain foods back into your diet. And you can work with a doctor to do this as well. And that really makes a big change in my energy levels when I go for Panchakarma. It's just phenomenal. It's amazing. I remember when I had COVID and I went to Panchakarma, it just transformed everything for me. And that's not really going to be something that everybody can do, so I don't want to bang on about that. Go to your doctor, get checked up. When it comes to fatigue, there can be emotional fatigue. There can also be a backlog of stress in the nervous system that can no longer wait to be released. And we can rush through life, and sometimes we don't have time to rest. We don't have time to give the body what it needs. And it can only really go, 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 go on autopilot for a certain amount of time before it says no more, I need to rest. And that can be really irritating. I know this because I had adrenal fatigue in the film industry. We got up at 4 a.m. learning lines in the middle of the night, jet lag, moving countries. Life's very exciting, no time to sleep. That's great. You can do it for a couple of years and then you burn out. And you think, oh, no fun. I don't want to sleep, or I'll sleep when I'm dead. You have a human nervous system that really needs to rest, and it needs that time, that downtime, and you can't really push forever. Bankers know this. In the 80s and the 90s, there was a lot of burnout with the bankers, and they'd be able to do it for a couple of years or 3 years, and then they'd take a sabbatical, or they just give up. So if you have chronic fatigue, and I don't know your situation, then if you have a tendency to push or have pushed in the past, your body might be saying no more. And I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do about that, no matter how irritating it is. You just have to listen to your body. I can relate. I went through that myself. Many years in the film industry, many years traveling. It just wasn't sustainable. So there can be that. There can also be emotions because we can do a lot and we can get support from an energy in nature and do things even without much sleep and even for many years when our emotional state is not dysregulated. And so if you have emotional fatigue, check your relationships. Am I happy in my relationships? What's frustrating me? Am I bypassing things? Are the things I'm not looking at? Are there people, places that I need to no longer be around? Really check in and ask the hard questions about what you need to feel safe. Are you being seen? Are you being respected? Are you respecting other people? Are you respecting yourself? Because if we don't reflect and we don't take action, then it can be a real drain. And sometimes we just want to stick our head in the sand and not deal with it. But what happens is our life force just gets drained because the universe wants us to make a change. It wants us to see things that another part of us doesn't want to see. Because the universe always moves us in an evolutionary direction. It always wants us to drop things that are no longer serving us. And sometimes people hold on to that thing that doesn't serve them because they're afraid of the unknown. They'll do anything rather than enter an unknown place or experience change. And that can be really draining when you holding on to something that's old news, holding on to something that is over. And the universe is saying, look, I've created this new person, I've created this new job, I've created this new environment for you to move into. This is where the universe wants you to go. And you're like, no, I want to stay here. And then it's like an elastic band that just gets stretched and stretched and stretched, and it's exhausting, and you get fatigue. And then when you let go, there can be a relief. And so we have to check many different aspects of our life when there's fatigue. And sometimes the fatigue can move into a more depressed state. And that's just a way of stopping us from acting on the thoughts that are arising. I know I've noticed this, that I don't worry with clients when they're suffering from depression. Actually, depression you can recover from. Meditation and mindfulness is amazing. The more depressed you are, the better it works. So that's good news. But when you're depressed, the system, the intelligence in the system is shutting you down, not giving you the energy to act on the thoughts that might be negative, as you might come out of the depression. You might have energy to act on them. So it's a little bit more of a tricky place, and you have to be keeping a lot of awareness and maybe checking in with your therapist or friends so you can be kept in line, because there is a risk when people come out of depression and they have more energy that they might act on those negative thoughts, whatever they are. So the fatigued state, it's a state That is a gift that's been given for contemplative reasons. It allows the body to rejuvenate. It allows us to connect with an intelligence greater than the mind. It's giving us an opportunity. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like almost like a forced meditative state that if you're not going to meditate, we're going to create a situation where you can't move. So you might need to go into silence. So it is a gift. But yes, we do need to maybe move through it because we might need to pay bills. We might need to take kids to school. We might need to figure out our lives and take action. And so dotting the I's, crossing the T's, making sure that when we do have any energy, moving into simple exercises can be helpful, not strenuous exercises, more restorative yoga positions. So you can Google that, restorative yoga positions, and you might want to put yourself in positions, and each position, each asana has an effect on the body, and some of them can give us a little perk. And stretching the body can help slowly move you out, especially if you get into a routine with it. And sometimes we just have to let the body rest. And just relax and know that everything's going to be okay. We just need to stop pushing. And so, with chronic fatigue, there's usually a part of our being that wants to push, that is irritated then that we're not getting somewhere. And that's draining. That pushy, angry, irritated part of ourself is draining. That itself can cause fatigue. So noticing that. And I will go into silence for a few minutes to see if anything else comes through. Opening the heart space. We often forget about the heart space. If the heart space is closed, you will be fatigued eventually, because the heart space has an endless amount of energy that it wants to give out into the world. And so if there are blocks in the heart space, there'll be blocks in the energy flow. So a lack of forgiveness, resentment, anger, a sense of being lonely or separate, these will create a fatigue eventually because they're anxiety provoking states. They raise cortisol, they're draining us. So doing metta meditation is really helpful. And I have a metta meditation and I'll be posting that. It may be live now, but if not, I'll make sure I post it. And just moving into the heart space and wishing all beings well, and noticing if there are certain groups or individuals that we don't wish well. And if we're holding a certain group or a certain individual apart from us, that's going to drain us. And so it's something to work on. And I will do more videos on how to open the heart space, because compassion is a very energizing state. We don't talk about that. We think compassion is all soft and quiet and warm. But if you have compassion in your heart, that's a lot of smooth energy. It has a different texture to it. We think about being energizing as running around, but we don't really understand that compassion is energizing. It's just a different subtle movement of energy. It's soft energy. But soft energy is very fast and very healing. And if you can get into softer energy fields, they move faster and they get more support of nature. So we mustn't overlook those softer energy fields. And softer energy fields, they can remove chronic fatigue. You can't be in a state of chronic fatigue when you're infused with that soft energy field and the heart space is fully open, because the universe will want to use you and move you in different places, to meet different people, to interact with them. You can be used more. And sometimes the universe will hide you if you have a harder energy field. And so it will take away your energy so you stay inside. But also, caveat, you can stay inside a cave or a house or your flat or whatever and be in a softer energy field, and that softer energy field without you moving around in the kingdom can still radiate everywhere into the whole universe, because it's such a subtle, powerful energy field. But yes, you also might be used when you're in that subtle energy field, and be invited to go around more places and to mingle in the kingdom and make everybody have an easier time. Because when people are open and their heart space is open and they show up in the world, they heal the world. And the universe always wants to use those people and give them the energy to move around and get them to open the curtains if they're depressed and feel better and go and be of service in the world. And so you will get used and you will get given energy and resources if you're moving and you're residing in more subtle energy fields that are healing. But don't beat yourself up if you have got chronic fatigue. And let's take away the word chronic. Chronic just is like chronic. No, let's just say heavier meditative state. I'm in a heavier meditative state where I can contemplate things in my life that need contemplating and make changes that need to be changed in their own time. And it's not always going to be this way. It's always going to change in its own time. Just stop pushing, stop worrying, and I will pray for everyone that is feeling tired. May they get the rest they need to rejuvenate. May they open their heart space and remove any blocks. May they be given an energy to move around in the kingdom and do what is good for all beings for all time. May they let go of any anger or irritation towards the lack of energy they currently have. May they understand that something good is happening on a subtle level, and the lessons will arise in their own time. May we love all beings, no matter how much energy they have or what they do or don't do in this world. Jai Gurudev.